But believe it or not, plenty of identifying Christians and Christian leaders will answer yes to that question. They'll see no contradiction between their Christian worldview, their Christianity, what they espouse and maybe even teach if they're a pastor, and the pro-abortion position. And I encountered this belief that those two can coexist just perfectly fine for the first time in college. As a naive 19-year-old, 18-year-old heading off to college, raised in a Christian home, I just assumed that being a Christian meant being pro-life, that no one would attempt to mesh those two. My gosh. Well, I was proven wrong very quickly, unfortunately. And my college, if you've heard me talk about it before, is Westmont College. That's my alma mater. That's where I went, in Santa Barbara, California. And if you're a parent who maybe feels that you haven't done the best job raising and equipping your children in truth, and that they haven't fully embraced Christianity for themselves, they're not fully convinced, don't send your kid to Westmont College, okay? Westmont has fallen far from the premises and theological principles that it was built on. And I know this because I went there, and I speak to people who go there now. And Westmont has not taken the type of position of leadership that we need Christian leaders to take at this moment. Let me tell you what I mean by that. This gets to this question of how many Christian leaders and lay people are leading young people and Christians down a dark and dangerous path away from Scripture, away from the orthodox position of the church, into lies that you can somehow combine the Imago Dei with the right to kill babies in the womb. So I'm actually going to name these professors, and maybe that's inappropriate, but I think you should know the names of people who are shaping the minds of children your age, or of yourself if you're in college right now, who espouse Christ, who say they're born again, and yet are perfectly fine accepting the premise that you can accept or defend the right to kill babies in the womb and be a born again Christian and a leader who helps shape the minds of the next generation. So I don't know if, I know that one or two of these people are still at Westmont. I don't know if all of them are, but Mary Doctor, a professor at Westmont College while I was there, because I was the president of the pro-life club there, we had an email interaction. And she said this. She said, Seth, please be aware that there are many committed Christians who are passionately pro-choice for a range of reasons. I won't go into them now, but I would hate to see you equate being pro-choice with a lack of true Christian faith or commitment. There is room for honest Christian dialogue on both sides of this complex issue. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's what I'll do the rest of my life, is equate being pro-choice with a lack of true Christian faith or commitment. You can't be truly faithful and committed to the gospel of Jesus Christ and passionately pro-choice, right? She literally says that. Committed Christians who are passionately pro-choice. In the same email, she said, what constitutes the commencement of life of a human being and killing are things that thoughtful Christians ponder, investigate, and pray about on a regular basis. If you have to take significant time to think about, pray about, and ponder whether humans are humans, babies are babies, and killing baby humans is wrong, then yes, I'm going to question your Christian faith or commitment. But this is coming from professors at Christian colleges. By the way, my alma mater's phrase, or on their signa emblem of the college, is Christ preeminent in all things. Christ preeminent in all things. So what Christ says and his words that he divinely inspired in Scripture ought to formulate the way that we think about things. Except apparently not the prenatal Christ. The prenatal Christ could have been aborted, because you can be passionately pro-choice for a range of reasons and be committed to Christianity. Scott Anderson at Westmont College, in an email correspondence with myself, referenced the faculty advisor of my pro-life club, who will remain nameless. And he said, I received an email from your faculty advisor of the pro-life club asking if I was interested in signing a petition asking the board of trustees to add some kind of pro-life declaration to our campus life statement, because Westmont College refuses to take a pro-life position on abortion. And I know that because the president of the college looked me in the face and said they're not going to do it. After giving it much thought, I declined and told your faculty advisor that while I remain staunchly pro-life, Okay. I don't understand how it's relevant to the educational mission of the college to lay out an institutional stance on an issue that is not directly related to our academic mission. If we were to do this, then why not include a statement on environmental stewardship or gun control or any other host of issues? Why should we stop with the pro-life issue? And does it make sense to have the college make a statement on such an issue where there is disagreement in our own ranks? My goodness. And all these faculty have to sign a statement of faith to teach at Westmont College. He says that he's staunchly pro-life, but that it's just not relevant to the educational mission of a college, right? So again, these are examples of people who believe that you can passionately espouse Christianity and also accept or maybe even encourage those within that institution, be that the church or an academic institution that espouse Christianity, to also espouse removing the limbs of unborn children in their mother's wombs. And of course, I mean, this guy's moral compass is completely broken, right? He's saying if we do that, if we have a Christian college whose motto is Christ preeminent in all things, take a position on abortion, maybe we'll have to do that on environmental standards or gun control. Right, Scott, right. Because slaughtering 1 million babies in America every year is definitely the same as law-abiding Americans practicing their constitutional right to defend themselves. Or it's the same as trying to keep the cows from farting to prevent global warming. My goodness. But this is becoming increasingly common amongst many Christian ranks in America that don't view abortion as all that bad. And then Deborah Dunn, a professor at Westmont College, we were also in an email correspondence, and I responded to her email to the entire student body, or maybe the communication studies department, advertising an internship with a local pro-abortion politician. So a Christian college who says Christ preeminent in all things, which would have to include the prenatal Christ in the womb, are advertising internship opportunities to their student body with local pro-abortion politicians. I'm not saying someone who's like pro-choice in their personal life but doesn't push it on a policy standpoint. No, this politician has defended and promoted abortion politically her entire political career. And she said in this email to me after I called her out for how horrifically inappropriate this was, she said, "It might surprise you to learn that many thoughtful, faithful, and inspiring Christians have ideas that differ from yours on these topics." Thoughtful, faithful, and inspiring Christians also saying, yeah, kill babies in the womb. That's wonderful. And so if Roe versus Wade, which apparently is a good thing because you can be passionately pro-choice for a range of reasons, was applied in the first century, then Jesus probably would have been aborted if it weren't for the sovereignty of Christ, because Mary was maybe 15 years old, unmarried, with a fiance threatening to leave her, and no financial stability, checking all the perfect leftist check boxes for the right to get an abortion. So in short, these perspectives, or these case studies, which really represent a larger problem in American Christianity, these perspectives can be summarized to basically say that, Christianity is a big tent. It's a big tent, and there's room for all of us. There's room for people who believe that it's okay to kill human babies. Now, it's interesting, of course, these same people wouldn't say there's room for people who think it's okay to discriminate against people based off of their skin color or lynch them, right? That's the irony of this whole thing, right? It's called the abortion distortion, a phrase that was initially used by Joseph De La Pena in his book on the history of abortion, the abortion distortion, which is as soon as the topic becomes abortion, all moral reasoning goes out the window that otherwise would be applied to other moral questions like racial bigotry or like slavery. So we know that Westmont College and these other Christian institutions and churches and leaders would never accept the premise that Christianity is a big tent. There's room for all of us. There's room for the racist. There's room for KKK members, and they can actually passionately be pro-racist and also be a faithful, committed Christian, as my fellow former Westmont faculty here used to say, right? So, but that's the perspective. Christianity is a big tent. There's room for all of us. So yeah, you can be Christian and pro-choice, and not just temporarily, such that you would need to abandon that position eventually, but forever. It's fine. It's totally chill.